Hi everyone. So I'm actually doing this in bed right now because it's early in the morning, and it's like, oh, I just thought to do this for you guys, this video. So today is actually Wednesday and today's April the 12th, and I was supposed to upload a video yesterday and I didn't. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. I just didn't. I just didn't feel like it, but I just got lazy. But I mean, I do want to be more consistent and stick with my Tuesday, Thursday schedule because that's what you guys are used to. You guys see a video on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm going to try very hard to stick with that. Okay. So this video is probably going to go up today, and then another video will go up tomorrow. So yeah. And then I have a haul coming up. I'm not going to go into detail because, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but I have a haul coming up. I'm not exactly sure when. Probably that will not be for a couple weeks, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I do have that coming up. But I will explain that in more detail when it gets closer, and then I will have it and I'll do it, and then I'll explain to you more in detail, what's going on, what it's about, when the time comes and when it gets closer, and so you guys kind of aren't like, what is she talking about? But no, yeah, you will know more information in a few weeks. So I just wanted to throw that out there before I get into today's video. Okay, so today's video, I thought it'd be fun to talk about. We always have like a story about a time where we made a mistake and we learned from it, or we did something and we learned our lesson for going forward. And yeah, and I have a story about a time when that happened, and I learned a lesson, and I learned a valuable lesson, and I'm going to talk about it. Nothing really bad happened. It's just like, something I did, and I'm just like, okay, I learned the lesson. Okay, so some of you know, I go to college, and what I usually do is I take 4 classes. I take 2 on campus and 2 online. And so when I take online classes, I typically don't read the syllabus, only because you can go into each week, and each week it'll tell you, like, okay, this is what you have to do. You have to, do this discussion board post, take this quiz, read this chapter, read chapter 1, for example, write an essay about whatever, like, do this assignment, and then there'd be a link to upload it. So there's just like anything, a lot of things that it could say for you to do. Look at lectures, read this, read that. So, that's basically why I don't always read the syllabus, because I just go into each week and it'll tell you what you have to do. But it's good to read it so you know what's due for the semester and when. And I just don't, for online classes, I don't read it. And, I learned a lesson. I'm going to explain in a minute what happened. Okay, so your syllabus is, for those viewers that are in college, is a schedule of everything that's going on for the week and the classes, and it'll tell you week by week when things are due, when essays are due, things like that. When there's tests, when there's quizzes, like, it outlines week by week. So yes, it's good to read, obviously, it's good to read the weekly year, see what you have to do each week. But it's also good to read the syllabus because you know ahead of time what's due, so you're not going into a certain week and being like, oh, there's an essay due that I have to put together in like 2 days? I didn't know about this. Whereas you can read the syllabus. And if you read the syllabus, you would know, oh, yes, there was an essay okay, there's an essay due this week, there's a term paper due this week, there's a test this week, so you can kind of like plan it out as to when you're going to start the assignments and all that. Okay, so I think you guys know where I'm getting at here. Okay, so with this class I took, it was called International Management, because I'm a business major, so you have to take management courses and things like that. So I took a class called International Management, and I had two online classes. My other two classes that semester were math. So I did I had a term paper for my one online class, which was called The Art of Poetry, and I did that and I, for some reason, so with the International Management, I thought I saw something in the beginning of the week about, term paper due. It's like, okay. So I was like, okay, maybe. So I kind of just put it on the back burner. I didn't see anything. And because what they have is also, they have a course information section where you have like all the important documents. Like you have a syllabus. Some professors will put like guidelines for a project and whatever, things like that. So it's just basically important information that you need. So, and then like the course materials, like week by week, what you have to do. Okay, so I did the term paper for the other class, and then for this International Management, I saw something about a term paper, and I was like, I kind of put it on the back burner. We had 14 weeks, figured, or maybe 11 or 12 weeks until it was due. So I was kind of just like, just put it on the back burner for now. So I was looking at each week, and I saw there was nothing due. Yes, there was a quiz each week, but there was nothing due. There was no assignments that I had to complete, no actual assignments that I had to upload. It was just a quiz. So I was like, okay, maybe there isn't a term paper. Maybe I just have one term paper. Maybe I just have one term paper. Maybe, maybe it just says that from a previous course or something. I don't know. So, like I said, I was looking at week by week to see, what was due, see if I had anything to hand in. And, let's see, what was I going to say? Like I said, I didn't think there was a term paper. I thought, okay, I only have to do one, because, I had to do one for my other class. So when there's something due, this professor anyway would do this, but when there's something due, the professor would remind us. He would say, okay, class, just a reminder, this essay is due tomorrow at 11:59. So, yeah. So basically, like I said, I was thinking there was no term paper, whatever. So this was the 13th week of the class, so we had just started the 13th week, and back then the semesters had 14 weeks. It's kind of hard to explain. But my school used to do quarters, and we were transitioning to semesters, which they do 15-week semesters now, but that's something I'll have to explain in another video, because that's going to make this too long. So, like I said, I didn't read the syllabus. And so it was the 13th week of the semester, and I was just, checking my emails, whatever, because I was actually looking for a ride receipt from Lyft, because I had to go somewhere. I had to go to Mobility. So I came home from Mobility, checked my email. I did get what I was looking for, the Lyft receipt, because I had to make sure everything was okay with my trip. Got to make sure I got charged and everything. What I was supposed to, things like that. So I was looking at the email, and then I saw an email from the professor for this class, the International Management. I saw an email from him, and it wasn't to me, it was to everybody. He emails the class as a whole. So he basically, the subject was that it was a reminder that the term paper was due on, this was a Monday. The term paper was due on Monday at 11:59 and 11:59 p.m. And it was a Sunday when he sent it, so it was the day before. But I didn't check my email the day before. And at that point, when I saw that email, I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, I have a term paper due in like 5 hours. Oh my god, this is like not good. It's actually, what time was it? It was about like 4 or 5 o'clock when I got the email, when I saw it. So I had basically what I had was I had a term paper that was due in 7 hours. And I was under extreme pressure. I First of all, I had to find where the guidelines were for the term paper because, I didn't, like I said, I didn't see it. So, picture this. I had a term paper that was due in 7 hours. I had no idea what to do because, I didn't think I had a term paper. And I had no idea what to do, where to find the directions, and I literally had to put together a 15-page paper in 7 hours. And I had to take a break to eat dinner too, but then after dinner I just got right back to work. So anyway, I found it. The guidelines for the term paper were actually on the bottom of the syllabus. So, you had like the whole course outlined week by week. Then you had the guidelines for the term paper at the bottom. So, yeah. That was pretty, I was like, okay, that was pretty bad. Because, I did it. I literally had to put together a term paper within like 5 hours. And, professors can tell if you wait until the very last minute because they could tell the difference between, they could see. It'll show. Like, if you worked hard on it and you really, like, spent a lot of time on it and put a lot of time and effort in it versus if it was written hastily. Which, in my case, it was written very hastily. So, I learned a very important lesson. So, now, the thing is with the term papers is, with a lot of professors, like, with each day the paper is late, it's a 10-point deduction. So, if I had a perfect paper, for example, which, I never have perfect papers, if I had, like, a 100% perfect paper, and, like, that deserved a 100, I would get a 90. The next day I'd get an 80, for example, which, is better than no points. But there's a reason I don't like to do that. Because if, say, you don't have a perfect paper, which, it happens. I highly doubt people have, like, a 100% perfect term paper all the time. So I know that I'm not perfect when it comes to papers. Well, obviously not perfect, period. Nobody is. But when it comes to term papers, I'm not like one of those students who always gets 100% on term papers. One time I got a C on a term paper because I didn't give enough detail. I didn't expand enough. And that's always been a problem with me when I write. I feel like that has improved, but in the past that has been a problem with me. So, seeing as I don't always, or since I don't always have like 100% perfect papers, I feel like the reason, like, submitting it late for 10 points off, yes, I understand it's better than no points at all. I get that. But I don't like to do that because I'd rather not waste points that could go toward the paper. Because, okay, so if I turn in a paper, like I said, I'm not always like, I don't write perfect papers. So I would rather have those 10 points that I lost for being late. I feel like it's a waste because I would rather have them go toward the paper itself. So, yeah, because if you have the whole semester to write a paper, there's really no reason why you should be submitting it late. So, yeah. But that's basically what, because it's really, like I said, I understand getting like an 80 or 90 is better than getting a 0, obviously. But say, for example, like, I only get like a 60, a 70 or an 80 on a paper's late, you're only going to get a 60 or 70, So those 10 points that could have gone toward the paper were taken away just because you submitted it a day late. And I feel like it's a waste of points. Those 10 points could go toward the paper because that's what I want. I want to do as well as I can on the paper. And I don't just want 10 points taken away just because I submitted it a day late. So that's why if, a professor has, like, if they give you a paper and they say it's 10 points off every time it's late, and that's why I don't like to do that. That's why I don't like to hand it in late. If I can avoid it. Like, if it's absolutely necessary, like, for whatever reason, I had to hand it in late, I mean, that's different. But if I can help it, I would rather not hand it in late because of that. So, yeah. So, I learned a lesson from this. And what I learned from this is to always read your syllabus. And always make sure that at the beginning of the semester you look at all the course information that's necessary. You look at all your resources, because, this could be a tip for you guys too. You look at all your resources, you do all that, and yeah. So that's what I learned. You always have to read your syllabus, even if you go into your weekly to see what's due each week. That's not enough, because of the fact that I had to do a term paper under extreme pressure. And I feel like, like I said, because a lot of professors will put the instructions for a project or something in a separate document just so everything's, like, organized. But I feel like the reason, like, this professor, why he put the term paper instructions at the bottom of the syllabus was because, because I guess maybe I'm sure they know a lot of students don't read the syllabus. They don't. So probably to get students to read the syllabus. I think that's why he did that. So, yeah. Because I actually have a friend who told me, because I had put this on Twitter, that I had to do a term paper in like 5 hours. And I have a friend who told me, he's like, I don't like doing all the editing, the outlining. I've done term papers when I was under extreme pressure. And, if I could knock out a term paper within a few hours. Like, if I sit there and I just work, I don't take breaks, and I'm just sitting there working, I could knock out a term paper. I written like a 7-page paper in 2.5 hours. I could knock out a term paper all day. I didn't have the whole day. I only had 5 hours by the time I looked at my email. Plus, I had to go out. So, yeah. But I have not, because the thing is with me, like, I'm the same way. Like, I don't need to do, like, the outlining, the editing, well, obviously the editing, but not like the outlining. I don't need to start the paper, like, 6 weeks in advance to do all this outlining and stuff. I can literally do it. Like, I could sit there and, work on a paper, like, I'll start a paper, like, a week before it's due. Because what I do is, like, I just do the research as I go. If that makes sense. So, I, too, I don't wait until, like, the very last minute, but I don't start, like, super duper early. I remember one time I was in an English class I took at a community college I went to, and it was called Writing and Research, and we had 2 papers, and our grade was just 2 papers because it was college, but our grade was weighted more on the second paper because the first paper I didn't do so well on. So the professor, what we did was we took, like, the whole semester. Like, the first half of the semester we worked on the first paper, the second half we worked on the second paper, and at my college that I went to, they had a writing lab where you go, they look at your paper, and they tell you what you can correct, things like that. And I went to my tutors. The tutors helped me do research. I went to the writing lab every single week for, like, a month. I was at the writing lab. So, yeah, for, like, once a week, obviously. I was at the writing lab. So, I made sure that, like, everything. So, I had them fix my paper. I showed it to them each week. I showed it to my tutor. So second paper I worked a lot harder on, whereas like the first paper I worked hard on it too, but I just didn't do well on it. So yeah, but I that semester I did it. I did the paper like early. Like I started working on it like early because we had to do outlining. We had to do, I said, I went to the tutor. I went to the writing lab, so it was a lot. Whereas like because you were not like on your own schedule. You had to do outlines. You had to like even as a class, the professor gave us time to work on our papers. So I couldn't just work on it like a week before it was due because it was a lot and we had to keep up with class. So yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys because I had thought about a time when I learned a lesson and figured I would share it with you guys. So yeah. So I am going to go and I will see you guys in my next video. Alright, bye guys.